Okay, so you may be here because you are feeling ugly. You are feeling unattractive. Now, if this is what you are feeling, you are not alone. Many of us have also felt this way. Hi, I'm Catherine, and today we are going to be talking about that feeling of not feeling attractive and how that affects us. And we're going to be talking about those feelings. We're also going to be looking at how we can change our perception of ourselves. And I will share a little bit of my own journey where I have been through times where I too didn't feel attractive. In fact, I actually had to have therapy because of it. So, the key thing to remember here is that this is a feeling. You are feeling unattractive. Well, why is this key? Because it's a thought that we are having in our minds. We're thinking all the time, aren't we? We often have negative thoughts about ourselves. So maybe one day I might be feeling like a failure. Oh, I can't get this done. I feel like a failure. That doesn't mean I am a failure. Yeah, it's just a thought that's gone into my head, and that's what I am feeling. So likewise, if you are feeling unattractive, it doesn't mean that you actually are unattractive. It just means that is the feeling that you are having right now. So the key is to change the commentary in your mind from saying to yourself that you are feeling unattractive, and you are believing that thought, so therefore I must be. And we need to change that thought process to I feel attractive and therefore think that you are. Okay, well, you might say that's easier said than done, but I just don't feel attractive. And actually, it's all very well for you to sit there and tell me to feel attractive, but you don't know me. You haven't even looked at me. How can you tell me I'm attractive if you haven't even seen me? Okay, I understand all that. So, first of all, beauty is subjective, okay? And what one person considers beautiful, another person does not. Yes? Again, it's down to perception. Now, it's very easy to look at models and people on Instagram and say, well, they are so attractive and I don't look anything like that. I am not beautiful. But you see, all you are seeing is an image. Yeah? The thing about attractiveness is that the way we look is just a very small part of what actually makes us attractive. And in fact, when you're in a relationship with someone, over time, it is not what you look like that the person is attracted to, it is who you are. It's the energy that you bring. So, think to people who you find attractive, yeah? Have a think about it. Is every person that you find attractive an Instagram model looking person? I know that's certainly not the case for me. And actually, if you were to meet that Instagram model, when you speak to them, would they still be attractive? Because like I said, it's the energy that we bring. I've told this story before, but I tell a story about how when I was younger, me and my group of friends used to go to this place every week, and there was this one guy who looked very attractive, and all my friends used to like, oh, he's amazing. And one evening I walked over to him and said hello, and he opened his mouth and he spoke, and oh my gosh, there was no way I could find him attractive, because I just didn't, how he spoke did not align with what I felt was attractive. Yeah, so you can look $1 million, but it doesn't mean you are an attractive person. So yeah, going back to what I said, so when you look back at people you find attractive, what are the things about them that you find attractive? Because sexiness isn't our facial features. Sexiness is the way someone walks, the way someone carries themselves, the way someone pronounces their words, the way someone smiles or looks. When I say look, I mean giving a look, yeah? And actually, I'm sure you can think of people who on Instagram would not be considered attractive, but actually, when you see them as a whole person, they are very sexy, just because of the way that they are. You see, we look in the mirror and we dissect every fault. We automatically zoom in on what we perceive as our faults. And then, therefore, we look at these faults and we tell ourselves we're not attractive. But that's not how attractiveness works. And what one person's perception of attractive is not what another person's perception of attractive is. So one person will like a fuller figure, one person will like a slender figure. One person will like someone who's dominant, one person will like someone who's submissive. Yeah? And attraction, what we find attractive in people isn't just on the outside, it's deep rooted inside of us. There are so many triggers that we have going back to our childhood that can trigger attractiveness in someone else. I mean, if you look at if you're familiar with the avoidant and the anxious person, they attract like magnets, yeah? And they're not attracting because of their facial features. They're actually attracting because of their childhood abandonment wounds. And the other person is giving them what they don't have. And that's where the attraction lies. So attraction is far more than just what your face is. So when you learn that and you can understand that, yes, you're understanding that energy is really what attracts people. And what's on the outside is just very small part of that attraction. Now, we can make the best of ourselves, we can make the best of our hair, we can keep our skin glowing, we can dress nicely. But if we can just feel comfortable with who we are, that makes all the difference. Because actually it's our uniqueness is what is part of what is attractive about us. The things that we see off as flaws are the things that someone else will see as quirky and they will love. So it's zooming out a little bit, away from what you just see in the mirror, and understanding that attractiveness is far more than that. Now, I used to think in my 30s that people were laughing at me. I had to go to therapy because I didn't think I was attractive. I thought there was something so strange about my face that every time I walked past people, they were laughing. And I remember walking into the therapist's office and him saying, "When was the last time you felt this?" I said, "Well, it was when I was coming in and the two ladies in the coffee shop. And as I walked past, they laughed." And he told me to write down all the other things that they might be laughing about. And it was like a light bulb moment. Ping! Oh gosh, of course, everything isn't all about me. And yeah, they're probably laughing about what they did last night. And I realised then that it was me telling myself that other people were finding me unattractive. Other people were finding me to look bizarre. And it wasn't the truth. It's just what I was telling myself. And I now look back at myself in my 30s and I look at photos and I think I was so attractive then. What a shame. Yes? Because it breaks my heart to think of people out there who are feeling bad about themselves. I used to listen to that Christina Aguilera, I can't say her surname, that song she sings about not feeling beautiful, and it used to make me feel tearful because it really resonated and hit a chord inside of me. So those feelings of unattractiveness, we can also trace those feelings back. Because actually your self-esteem, your low self-esteem comes from somewhere. And you may be able to trace back and find out where it comes from. Because actually there will be times, because most of us, I am sure, have had times in our lives where we have had people make us feel bad about ourselves. I can think of several examples of when that's happened to me. I've been in a relationship where my appearance was mocked. And of course now I know that that was just because they wanted to make themselves feel better and make me feel less than. It was nothing to do with what I looked like, but it affected me. I had a year worth of bullying where every single school day I was told I was ugly. That really affected me. I had family members, people who I trusted and loved, tell me I wasn't pretty. And of course, they were people I loved. And of course I was going to take what they were saying seriously. And once we can trace it back and realise and see those times in our lives where people have knocked our confidence, and bring our awareness to those times. Because actually, by just bringing our awareness to those particular incidences and recognizing that those things that were told to us were not the truth, that can be incredibly healing. Also, when we are comparing ourselves. So if I am going to I'm 51, if I'm going to compare myself to a 20-year-old Latino and look and say, look at her, isn't she beautiful? Oh, look at me. Of course I'm going to feel unattractive. We need to be thinking about who we are. So I am Scandinavian, and I think actually I have athletic build, I have quite strong features, and I think that some of that is what made me also feel unattractive, because I didn't look like the other girls in my class. But now I see my Scandinavianness as a good thing, yeah? Now, if I want to feel inspired, I will look at other Scandinavian women on Instagram who are in my age group, 50s, 60s, and I will get inspiration from them. So if you want to feel your best, if you want to have sort of beauty tips, look at people who are your ethnicity. Look at people who are in your age group and look at them and feel inspired by them, rather than comparing yourself to someone who you will never be. And we need to learn that our uniqueness, that is our qualities. I love art history. My brother is a professor of art history, so art history has always been very much part of my in my family. And if you look back through the ages of paintings or photographs, you see how beauty standards changed. In the Renaissance period, you had voluptuous women with sort of large foreheads and pale faces, and they were considered beautiful. Yeah? But then when you go to the 20th century, things changed, and you had more of a slender figure. If you think of the 1920s flapper girls, a more slim, boyish figure was considered attractive. Even in the last few years, I mean, think about what people consider beautiful now. So at the moment, big eyebrows are considered beautiful, yet when I was young, we plucked them all out. So what is perceived as beautiful changes through the decades. And if we're just comparing ourselves to the current trend, well, we might be lucky, we might fit into the current trend, or we might not. But if we don't, it doesn't mean we're not beautiful. You see, also, when we have imperfections on our face, as I said earlier, those imperfections are often what people find attractive. I've got wonky teeth. I've got no intention of fixing them because they don't bother me. And actually, I remember David Bowie, when he had wonky teeth, before he got his wonky teeth fixed, I loved his wonky teeth. Yeah? We think that we have to have everything perfect, but really we don't. Yeah, beauty isn't in the symmetry of our face. Yeah, that's not what makes us magnetic. As I said, it's our energy that makes us magnetic. So I just want you to think about it, yeah? Don't just look at the reflection in the mirror, because actually the reflection in the mirror is giving you your unhealed wounds. Go back, bring your awareness back to those times where people made you feel unattractive. Bring your awareness to them to help you heal those moments in your life. Look at yourself and realize that you are beautiful. Whatever size, shape, features you have, concentrate on the things that you love about yourself. Yes, we all have, everybody has things that they're not so keen on, but we also have things that we like. Yeah, focus on the good bits. We can make the best of ourselves with how we dress, our hair, our makeup, or not makeup, whatever you choose. When I go out now, whereas when I was younger, I would go to an event and I would wear something that I didn't feel comfortable in, but I thought was what I should be wearing to that event. But actually, I feel more comfortable when I'm wearing sort of looser clothes. I like to be covered. I don't like to be uncovered. And I like flat shoes. I love flat shoes. And now when I go to an event, I wear what I feel comfortable in rather than what I feel I should be wearing. And that automatically gives me more confidence and I feel more attractive because I feel comfortable. And realize that beauty is different in all of our eyes, yes? And just like there are people out there are some people who will find me attractive. There's some people who won't. There's some people who will find you attractive. And there's some people who won't, because we all have different ideas on what is beautiful and what isn't. We mustn't just compare ourselves to those idealized images and think that is what everyone wants, because it really isn't. And think about the thoughts that you're allowing into your mind. Yeah? Don't believe the thoughts that are telling you that you're not beautiful. Yes, control those thoughts, because you are allowing those thoughts to come in and you are believing them. Well, don't let that happen. Get control of your thoughts and actually only allow the thoughts that come into your mind to be empowering thoughts. And once you start doing that, once you start changing the way you think, then you will see your beauty, because you are beautiful. I don't know about you, but I don't walk down the road and go, there's an ugly person, there's an ugly person. In fact, I think if you're a good person, you can't be ugly. And there are a lot of good people out there. So please think differently and think good about yourself, because you are beautiful. Thank you for listening. Do like, comment, subscribe. We're protecting that peace within so we can send all our love out. And yeah, do let me know in the comments if you have anything else you would like to add about today's discussion. And have a wonderful day. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Bye.